Hari Om. Let us chant the part 1 of Kenopanisad. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu mamangani vakpranachachushrotamato balamindriyani cha sarvani. Sarvam Brahma Upanishatam Maham Brahma Nirakudyam Mama Brahma Nirakaro Dhanirakaranamasta Nirakaranam Mestu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatstu Dharma Se Mahi Santu Te Mahi Santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Keneshitam patati preshitam mana kena prana prathama praiti yuktaha. Keneshitam vachamimam vadhanti chachushrotram kavudevo yunakti. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vacho havachagu savu pranasya pranaha chachurati muchadhira pretyasman lokatamrita bhavanti. Na tatra chachur gacchati na vagacchati no mano na vidno na vijani mu yathaitha tanushishyat. Anya deva tat vidita tatho avidita tati. Iti shushruma purve sham yenastad vyacha chakshire. Yad vachanabhyutitam yena vakavyudhyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhinetam yeditam upasate. Yan manasa namanute yena hudmano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yeditam upasate. Yachachrusha na pashyati yena chachubhushi pashyati tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yeditam upasate. Yachotrena na shrunoti yena shrotravidago shrutam tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yeditam upasate. Yat pranena na praniti yena prana praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yeditam upasate.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Kenopanisad, 4 chapters. In these sessions, we are going to only study the first chapter, which consists of nine mantras. The question is Keneshitam padati preshitam manah kenah pranah pratamah praiti yuktah keneshitam vachamimam vadanti chaksushrotram kaudevo yunakti. Preshitam, ishitam. That is the question. Kena, ishitam, kena, preshitam. Preshitam means that which directs everything. Preshitam means that which directs everything. Ishitam means by the mere presence, it makes things happen. Kena ishitam, kena preshitam. And one of the toughest Upanishad, toughest Bhashyas is on this Kenopanisad. Because these two words are not the same, even though at the first layer of study, we just take we don't try to distinguish these two words, Ishitam, Preshitam, all looks the same. But when we want to really sit and do manana reflection and try to understand what they are saying, we go slightly to the next level. The two words, there is this spiritual principle, there is this Brahman, there is this consciousness, there is something. What it is, any name you can give, and names and what it is has no connection. First thing, whatsoever you name you give has got no connection to what it is. But then it has two functions. So he's talking about it from, the student is asking a brilliant question from the two functions. What is that? Preshitam is directed by whom, impelled, by whom directed. Second is Ishitam, by the mere presence, it enlivens everything. So at one level, directed by, as though it is the doer, as though it is the karta. At another level, it is just the it doesn't do anything. The presence makes everything happen. The presence makes everything happen is like what we call in the chemical reactions as the third entity. Hydrogen and oxygen combines to form a molecule of water. Wherever you combine hydrogen and oxygen, it will not form a molecule of water. So it needs a third entity called electricity. In the presence of electricity, hydrogen and oxygen combines to form a molecule of water. So electricity is not doing anything, but in its mere presence, it happens. So Ishitam, Preshitam, the question is, that entity seems to be doing something, entity not seems to be doing something. I don't know who else to go and ask you. You please tell me what it is. What is it that is enlivening, and how does it enliven? Does it enliven? Is enlivening as a function or enlivening as in the mere presence? நீங்களே இந்த classes மாத்தி you are talking. Sometimes you talk as though it is the doer. Sometimes you talk as though it is just it doesn't do anything, and then you come up with confusing words as in confusing concepts as in material cause, efficient cause, instrumental cause. Upanishad students coming and asking, I have known all this, and I have also known through all this I have not understood anything. Now tell me what it is. Are you able to follow the question? I have known all this. through all this, nothing has happened to me. In fact, without knowing, it makes me to believe as though I know it. The way in which this Vedanta is explaining things, it makes you to believe you know it as though you know it, even though you have no clue to what it is. The student is coming and asking, I don't want to get into this trap. I don't want to fall into this trap. Tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. Willed by whom, directed by whom is the immediate meaning. One meaning. Second meaning is, in the presence, everything happens. So, lot of thinking has to go into each and every word of the Upanishad. What I'm trying to say is, each and every word of the Upanishad has a lot of meaning. But we are so used to generalized reading, like reading newspaper. We don't go into the words. And if anybody goes into the word, we will say, deep why that is all very scholarly and all that. Just give me the gist of it. Just give me the essence of it. How can you know the essence unless you go deeper and deeper and deeper and capture it? Here is the person who has done it. So, Keneshitam Padati Preshitam Manaha. It is enlivening a doing or enlivening a presence? Beautiful question. Is enlivening a doing or is enlivening a presence? Presence means it's there. It doesn't contribute anything. It doesn't wish to do anything. It doesn't not wish to do anything. And yet, in its presence, everything is happening. Is it Ishitam or is it Preshitam? What are you talking? Is the all these debates come in the when you go to when you take the Bhashyas and study, because if you want to go into the deeper study, you have to go to them, because the way they give various interpretations, meaning various material for deeper contemplation and reflection. Preshitam, directed by whom? Ishitam, blessed by whom? Directed means doing. Blessed means when somebody blesses you, what are they saying? Directed and blessed. There is a two different meaning in it. The English words may be very synonymous, but two different concepts. Understand these two words. Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate has a meaning. Without this, Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate will be like the question is also superficially understood, the answer is also superficially understood, and the person will say, sir, we have studied Kenopanisad, when we will study the next two Upanishads. But Kenopanisad question we didn't pass. Question itself we didn't pass. What is the question? Is enlivening a doing or witnessing? Presence means witnessing. Doing or witnessing. What is the problem, sir? Witnessing in doing. Because that we don't know. Renunciation in all that we know already, isn't it? That's why this teaching is so dangerous. Makes you will know all the answers even before the question is completed, you know the answers, and yet you look at the inner being, no transformation has happened. If no transformation has happened, means no understanding has started. If no understanding has started, means where you should spend time on the question or the answer? On the question. If no transformation has happened, don't pay attention to the answer. Pay attention to the question. That's why in the academy, he brought in the discipline of focusing on the questions, not on the answers. Because anyway, no answer doesn't make no answer doesn't make any sense, or all answers are as wrong as some other answer. So what difference does it make what answer comes? But spend more time on the question. And all the visitors will have a problem with the group discussion only. Rest of the schedule, they will never have a problem. With group discussion, they will have a problem. Because question, when are they going to give they're constantly talking about the question. When will they arrive at the answer? You look at the question so penetratively, that training is very important. To give a sample of the training is what I am doing now. Ishitam, Preshitam. If you use the word Karta, he is the director. He is that who's directing everything. Then the moment you talk about a Karta, you have to talk about the Kriya, the action. You cannot talk about the actor without an action. The moment you talk about the actor, how much ever you verbalize and say there is no kartrutvam and all that, there is a kartrutvam that exists at the core. There is a kartrutvam that exists at the core. Because the moment at the core the kartrutvam is removed, doing stops. And please understand, human being cannot understand without a doing. That's why even witnessing, we will think it as a doing. Again, I repeat, even witnessing, we will understand it only as a doing. Enlivening also, we will understand it as a doing. Witnessing also, we will understand it as doing. At the most, we will say detached doing. At the most, we will say objective doing. Are you able to follow? At the most, we will say it is objective doing, sir. At the most, it is detached doing. Enlivening is not a detached objective doing. Question is, what is that? What is the detached doing? What is that enlivening? What is that? What is that? Shrotrasya Shrotram. Who instigates everything, who activates everything, who in the mere presence everything happens. The moment you bring in a doer, so many problems comes. The moment you bring in the non-doer, then from where rest of the thing came. Both has a problem. Ishitam also has a problem. Preshitam also has a problem. If we say doer, if we say God is the creator, God is the doer, by whom willed everything is happening, then the question is, why is he willing? What is his responsibility towards the whole thing? You can't say I am the creator, but I have absolutely no responsibility over that which I create. You buy a phone, first thing you will ask is warranty, isn't it? You buy a car, there is a warranty. Why? Because the creator has to take. Not creator has to take. The creator is responsible. That angle gets into too complicated. Okay, leave that aside and then come to the other side. What is the other side? In the presence, everything is happening. That is more complicated. How this is also more complicated? If Ishitam is complicated, Preshitam is also complicated. By the mere presence, if everything is happening, what is the happening? What is the cause for the happening? Are you able to follow? If that is the presence, in the presence, the whole cosmos is happening. The question is, why the cosmos is happening? What is the meaning of it? What is the purpose of it? Where it is leading itself into? Then who is responsible for all this? A person will argue. Are you okay till now? A person will say, see, why are you complicating? Ishitam, Preshitam, all means the same thing only. If all means the same thing, why use two words and one word with an adjective? Ishitam, pra plus Ishitam, Preshitam. So why add another word with an adjective? So we try to take it as there has to be a distinction. There has to be a distinction. When you go shopping, there are two ways of shopping. One is you desire. Another is you are commanded. The question is what? Shopping is happening. Understand it like that. Simple. Narayana. You may desire to go shopping, or your wife has commanded to go shopping. The question is Ishitam, Preshitam. Beautiful is the question. Mind goes to objects because of desire, or someone commands the indriyams to function. First 15 minutes, I spoke very technically about too much it is. Okay. Yes, sir. He has created a lot of enemies now. We have never seen Sir blabbers now and then, but continuous day after day after day blabbering is happening only in this Kenopanisad. Unnecessarily you are confusing us. The mind goes to objects because of desire, or the desire itself, the desiring itself is commanded by something. Ishitam, Preshitam. Answer. Question Question itself is not understood. And we have come into the answer now. What is the answer? Shrotrasya Shrotram. So, why I am talking about this Ishitam and Preshitam is, this is how you should sit and reflect, contemplate. Any answer will satisfy you immediately. You ask a question and an answer will be given, and if that answer has satisfied you immediately, there is a danger in that answer. Please understand that. There is a clarity has not come. There is a danger in that answer. What is the danger in that answer? You need not think any further. Are you able to follow? A question comes and there is an answer, and that answer gives you immediate satisfaction. There is a danger in that answer. What is the danger in that answer? No more thinking is required. And then tell the person, think. What will they do? Are you able to follow? Therefore, what they do, what these Upanishads do, they will give an answer which will satisfy you. 5 minutes later, if you revisit it, question remains question remains the same. Then you go deeper. Then you go deeper. Then you go deeper. Kereshitam patati preshitam manaha ishitam preshitam. Rest of the things are very easy. What makes the eyes to speak, what makes the ears to hear, what makes the mind, what makes the pranas to function. First we went into the details of karmendriya, jnanendriya, prana, manas, buddhi, etc. That is one angle of analyzing this question. Another angle of analyzing this question is which is the proper Upanishadic senses. Take the word Ishitam and Preshitam. Take the word Ishitam and Preshitam. Then another kind of study. Then you are alert and awakened to a new kind of discussion. And Upanishad wants us to discuss it like that. Whatever action anywhere anybody is doing is because of the desire. Chronology of action studied, all along we have studied it. It's very, very clear. Now the question is by whom impelled, by what impelled, and all that. You suddenly come and say it is like a catalyst. Very difficult to conceive of a God as a catalyst. Very difficult to conceive of God as a catalyst. Why it is very, very difficult to understand God as a catalyst? Because all along we have been having a notion about God. What is the notion about God? Okay. Are you okay till now? Have you ever observed in all human thinking, you have to reduce it either to an object or a person, or a combination of object and person, or a combination of various things, but it should be a person or an object. That is the problem of human thinking. When something is existing, this is the assumption. In thinking, Sunil, are you able to follow? In thinking, there are only two alternatives open to the human mind. What are the two alternatives? When something is existing, then it must be either a thing or a person. Objects, beings. Are you able to follow? If something is existing, either it has to be an object or it has to be a being. A being could be in the form of some species or a person. Whenever we think about something, either we think of it as a thing or we think of it as a being. With the same fallacy, when we get into God and consciousness and all that, we have a problem. Why? Because why we have a problem? Venkatachalam. We have a problem because it is that one thing that has split itself into a thing and the being. It is that one, we can't even say one. It is that infinite which is appearing as the infinite. That infinite appearing as infinite. If it is one, even though figuratively we say one. What is figuratively? That one splitting itself into the two, the mind and the dream. Understand that example. You can't say one mind. We can only say mind, isn't it? We can't say that one mind. Just simply say mind splits itself into the infinite things in the dream. So a dreamer can only think everything in the terms of a thing or a person, object or a being, combination of object and being. Sometimes 2-3 beings mixed together also, isn't it? That's why Ganesha is a mixture of 2 beings. Narasimha is a mixture of 2 beings, lion and man. And then there is one another mixture. There is one another mixture. I don't know whether I don't know who has even seen it. In the temples, when they have the 10-day festival, morning and evening, gods will come out. And when the gods come out, they will come in different vehicles. There is one beautiful vehicle called Yali, they will say. Yali Vahanam, they will say. One day, Yali means there is no animal like that. There is no being like that. Combination of 8-9 animals put together. A combination of 8-9 animals put together, and God will come on that. When I saw that, I used to see all that. I used to go there and see what is that each and every thing. Whatsoever the human being does, it has to necessarily fit under this only. Ishitam, Preshitam is what? Beyond all this. Is there a possibility of something beyond all this? Even when we say something, we have brought in the word thing, isn't it? Even when we say something, we have brought in the word thing, and the thing obviously means existence, and the very existence means why, what, when. Unanswerable questions come. Unanswerable questions. What are the unanswerable questions? When, what, why, etc. comes. If we say it is that one, it is that which you cannot call it as one, or put it like that. It is that Advaitam, say it like that. It is that Advaitam that has become all these infinite manifestations. Then we have a problem. Anything and everything about God is a problem. Huh? Yeah. And yet people are so convinced there is God, and yet there are another set of people so convinced there is no God. One set of people are so convinced there is God. Another set of people are so convinced there is no God. And yet everything about God is so confusing. Everything about God is so complicating. Upanishad is a bold inquiry, not leaving everything behind to find out what this God is. Because everything about God is confusing. Everything about God has a problem. If you keep God as a thing, you have a problem. What is the problem? Lifeless entity, something and all. The moment you say God as a person, what is the problem? The moment you say God as a person, another problem you will get into. What is the other problem you will get into if God becomes a person? Good or bad? Are you able to follow? The moment it comes, the next question will be good person or bad person. So God at times look very good. God at times looks very evil. Huh? Sometimes he looks very partial. Sometimes he looks very partial. God, no, sir. God is basically good. God is basically good, kind. He only anugraha. Oh, God is only that, sir. If God is basically good, as the world that he has created, as the world that we see around, there is no goodness at all because of the devilish things. No, sir. God is good, but all the bad things is our creation. Upanishad will say these answers are all these answers are not acceptable answers at all. Why these answers are not acceptable? Because you are saying it came out of Brahman. You are saying it came out of God. Out of good God, everything good only has to come, isn't it? Out of sugar came bitter gourd juice. Parmabdi. No, sir. God is sugar only. Bitter gourd juices. Then whose responsibility is the bitter gourd juice that has come out of sugar cane? You crush the sugar cane. What will come in the past, present, and future? Sunil. What will come? You crush the sugar cane juice. What will come? It's very clear. You crush the sugar cane juice. You don't know what is going to come. Sometimes water may come, sometimes wine may come, sometimes bitter gourd juice may come, or cocktail, mixture of everything. We get into another problem. Third, the moment we say something is existing, it can go out of existence. Whatsoever exists can become non-existent. It's very clear. It's implied. In the word existence, non-existence is hidden. In the word birth, death is hidden. Death comes only when you are born, no? When can you die? When can you die? Only when you are born. Supposing if you are not born at all, death can never happen. You cannot be born and live forever and ever and ever, because the word existence means it can go out of existence. The word existence means it can change into something else. The tree is, it can change into the wood. The wood can change into the furniture, the chair. The chair can change into something. So in existence, there is this possibility of non-existence and there is this possibility of vikara. Vikara means changing. It can keep changing. Oh my God, it means God is changing. Are you okay till now? Existence means nama rupa. You cannot conceive of an existence without nama rupa. You cannot have, since there is no common rupa, there is no common form also. Again, there is no common rupa, there is no common form. Therefore, nama also differs according to the rupa. That's why it's called nama rupa. Even though to our eyes, all zebras look the same, they are not the same, isn't it? In our eyes, all Chinese will look the same. In our eyes, all Chinese will look the same. But then they are not the same. In our eyes, all the bisons look the same. They are not the same. Bisons don't have this problem at all. That's why they don't have individual names. Because they don't, even the form they don't perceive properly. Human beings have perceived the form properly. Because we have perceived the form properly, we have understood there are no two forms are one and the same. Therefore, if you have to identify it, you have to give it a unique name. From that understanding only came naming, Nama Rupa. Vijayarangan, what are we studying? I forgot what we are studying. What text are we studying now? Kenopanisad, correct. Someone them, 45 minutes you are talking nothing connected to the form differs, therefore the name also, you have a different form, that's why different names. How can there be, is there anything common in all this? Are they all common? These various forms, did they come out of that? Did they come out of that entity? If all the names and forms and come out of that entity, what is the name and form of that entity? Vijay, we will ask. இதெல்லாம் ஒரு problem of life. Is all this a concern about, is all this a problem of life? When we have so many things to, worry about life, in reality, why do these people even sit and discuss these things? Are you able to follow? If there is a form that can produce it has an infinite potential, then what is it? The answer that is given in the 5 mantras. Answer that is given here is, the answer is given in this 5 mantras. The 5 mantras is, Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. What is that which is the Nama Rupa? What is that which is the, what is that in this Nama Rupa? Don't you know what is in this Nama Rupa? Then the moment, finally, with this we conclude this Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. The last thing is, the moment you think of it as a form, then the question is, the moment you bring it into a form, then only you know how to relate to it. Then only you can relate to it. Otherwise, you will not know how to relate to it. The moment there is a form, you can bring in various types of relations. What are the various types of relations? You can say a father, a mother, a brother, a friend, a beloved. That's why Bhakti has various forms of associating with God. Some things God as a child, some things God as a mother, something God as a father, some things God as their boyfriend, some people think God as their husband. Please understand. You can only think of God as a husband. You can never think of God as a wife. You can never think of God as a wife. God always becomes the husband only. I don't know why it is like that. It is like that. When you go to section 3, we will be discussing these things also. Now, some courage, some boldness is required to discuss Upanishads. Why? So beautiful. is this. Supposing there is a God to which you have to pray, but that God has no ears. You pray to a God and that God has no ears. You pray to a God and that God has no way you can have any relationship with that God. What will you do? What will you do to that God? That is why Upanishads never became popular. At any point of time, Upanishads never became popular because you will never know what to do with all these things. A God that is supporting the good and the God that is punishing the bad is an acceptable, understandable God. A God that because of the catalytic effect of the God, the good and bad came, and God has got nothing to do with either the good nor the bad. Question is, why will I even search for that God? What is mumukshatva then? If this is God, then what is mumukshatva? Are you able to follow? Mumukshatva has got nothing to do with God. Mumukshatva is to do with wanting freedom from the sense of limitation. Again, I repeat, mumukshatva has got nothing to do with God. Mumukshatva means wanting freedom from the sense of limitation. Everything is so limiting. Everything around, everything about the human being is so limiting. And we want freedom from that. We want freedom from that limitations. So mumukshatva has got nothing to do with God. Mumukshatva is wanting freedom from the sense of limitations. What is God? To summarize all this, what is God? The question, for which the answer. What is the answer? What is the answer? Which mantra are we studying now? Venkat. 5 5 6 padingo. As the answer. What is that God now? Answer.
Yanmanasa namanute yena kurmano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yaditam upasate. Yanmanasa namanute yena kurmano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yaditam upasate.
That which cannot be visualized by the mind, that by which the mind visualizes. So they say, know that alone to be Brahman, not this which people worship. That which cannot be visualized by the mind, that by which the mind visualizes, so they say. Know that alone to be Brahman, not this which you worship. Now what is he saying? What is he saying now? Previous mantra he said, Yatvachanabhyuditam ena vagabhyudhyate. Now, yanmanasana manute ena hurmano matam. So they say. So they say. Whoever it is. And what are they saying? That which the mind cannot visualize, that which makes the mind to visualize. that which is not thought by the mind, but because which mind thinks and it is sentient. It is Jadam. Each and everything is taking and proving that it is Jadam. Remember, I think second day we spoke about that. I don't know, second day or third day we spoke about the Jadam. That which is not thought by the mind, that which not the mind visualizes. Thoughts has the tremendous capacity to visualize, and thought makes things appear in front. Again, thoughts has the tremendous capacity to visualize, and thoughts make things appear. You understand this? The watch existed as a thought in somebody's mind first. That's why they say visualization. It first comes in as a thought, and then they went through the so many process and everything, and finally we end up having the watch. So the appearance of watch is not, so the object is nothing but thoughts consolidated. When thoughts gets consolidated and when it is given into a direction, it appears as something. Mind has this capacity to create. Thoughts has the capacity to create. Creative power. That's why creativity, they say, no? Creativity. What creates? The thoughts. There is a painting. It was in the painting existed as thought first. A sculpture existed as the thought first. Everything existed as thoughts. That which is not thought by the mind. Now, how the mind visualizes? The mind visualizes through thoughts. And thoughts creates. Thoughts creates. Thoughts can create two extremes. Hallucinations also thoughts can create. This also thoughts can create. Thought can create visualization. Thought can create an object like this, a phone. Thoughts can do both. If it is hallucination, you will call it as insane. If an object is created like this, you will call it scientific, mathematical, rational technology. Yeah, I don't know. No? It is the visualize, it is the thought has this creative power. Now he is saying that which is not thought by the mind, but because of which the mind thinks. The thoughts in mind, the mind is an instrument. Mind is an instrument. Ability in the mind to make it feel sentient is Brahman. Knife is an instrument. The holder of the knife gives sentiency to life, life to knife, as it were. Are you able to follow? Knife is a lifeless instrument. When that knife is in the hands of a surgeon, that knife seems to have sentiency. Correct? Okay, robotic surgery, they say nowadays, isn't it? What is that? Do they have any life in it? Isn't it? Do they have any life in it? Yes or no? Sai. No life, that's all. No life. Assemblage of elements, that's all. Assemblage of elements, something is directing it. Are you able to follow? Now, if it is an instrument, but something behind that instrument making it to do things as though it has an independent function. So they say, who are they? Whoever has known it. Whoever has known it, they say. What do they say? It is an instrument. Can the instrument get up and do things by itself? It cannot do it. By whom impelled it is doing? By whom compelled it is doing? In the presence of whom the instrument is functioning is the question. Are you able to follow? Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Meaning, this is not God. This is not God means, what is not God? That the mind cannot think of God, because it is that which enables the mind to think. How do you know that? How do you know that? Thoughts flow. One, it has a beginning and an end. Anything that flows, that has a beginning and an end, is matter, is jadam. Take away the conscious principle from the life, the body is lying. The body is lying. Okay, take the example of a dead body. Body nale dead da, isn't it? Body itself means dead only. Okay, take a dead body, as it were. We'll say life has gone, isn't it? Something was there inside functioning, and that stopped. Second, something is there that is mind-boggling. What is that mind-boggling? Okay, see it from that angle. Even if you look at it from the angle of karma and karma pala, we discussed, no? In chapter 10, we discussed about yama and all that. Remember? That itself is mind-boggling. How it is getting registered, how each and every thought is getting registered, how it comes out at the right time, and how the network happens by itself, and once the karma pala get exhausted, the network simply gets disintegrated. My God, mind-boggling this is. Are you able to follow? This cannot be conceived of by the thought. Thought means the ability to conceive. Thought means the ability to understand. Thought means the ability to produce something out of that understanding. Thought means the ability to understand. Sorry, thought means the ability to conceive. Okay. Thought means the ability to project, to conceive, to understand, and make and create something out of that understanding. This is called visualizing. This is called visualizing. So they say, what they say, visualization is happening only because there is this Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will say, I am that visualizing power, he will say directly. Upanishad doesn't bring about a person to say this. Upanishad talks about it in a third person. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says it directly. All enlightened masters, they will say it directly. Upanishad talks about it in the third person. Not only the third person, they say, so they say. So they say. What do they say? Creative visualization. Thoughts have this capacity to, with that visualizing, can you visualize God? The answer is no. Because for the thoughts to function, there is a boundary. Thoughts cannot function without a boundary. Correct? What is the boundary? What is the boundary with which an instrument can function? Is there one instrument that can do all functions? Even Swiss knife cannot do that, no? Are you able to follow? Instrument means it has a, what is the definition of an instrument? Specific function, and that specific function is its limitation. Again, I repeat, instrument means what? A specific tool, a specific function. That specific tool and the specific function itself is its limitation. That's why he gives it example. The tools that you use for the wristwatch cannot be used to fix the locomotive, he will say. Remember that example? The tools that is used to fix the watch cannot be used for locomotive. Shaving blade is not there. Only a sharp axe is there. Why not? Why not shave with the axe? Yeah. Shaving will happen. Shaver will go out of existence, isn't it? Are you able to follow? Again, what is the limitation of a thought? It is an instrument. Instrument means it has a limitation. So that which is intrinsically limited can understand everything within its limitations only. If the eyes can see only up to a frequency, everything has to be brought inside that frequency. That's why in the same world, there are different species seeing the same world differently. In the same world, different species sees the same world differently. Are you able to follow? There are some species sees everything in ultraviolet light. We can't see ultraviolet. So what we see cannot be the ultimate, cannot be the infinite, cannot be the truth. What we see cannot be the ultimate, what we see cannot be the truth, what we see cannot be the reality, because something with a different capable instrument seeing something else in the same entity. It means this entity called world is presenting itself with infinite potentials with infinite instruments. Are you able to follow? Again, the same entity called creation, the world, has infinite instruments. Infinite instruments means infinite existences. Which thought cannot conceive. And yet thought believes that it is alive, sentient. What is it that makes it to believe that it is alive? What is it that is making it to believe that it is sentient? Yenmanasana manute yenahur manomata tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Brahman is not the thought in mind. Brahman is not mind the instrument. Brahman is not that which is the product of the thinking, the thought. Okay. To put it from another angle, Vivekananda asked this question. Vivekananda said, have you ever observed all gods will have human figures? He said. He asked, have you ever observed all gods will have human figures, hands, legs, eyes? It has to have this form only. Why? Because thoughts cannot go outside of this and think about anything. That's a limitation of thought. Then he goes on to ask, if all the buffaloes were to sit and create the god, what will be that god? He said. What will be that god? A huge buffalo head. If ordinary buffaloes have 4 legs, that god buffalo will have 100 legs. How can there be legs without hands? Yeah. It's very easy to say hands and legs. In the animals, which is the hand, which is the leg? And it can't function without hands and legs. If you sit and think all these things, you only go mad, insane. What is the purpose, utility of all this? Yanmanasana manute yenahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Not this. Tadeva, tateva brahma. Tateva brahma. Tvam vidhi. Yesterday we discussed that. Tvam vidhi. Know that. What you should know. That is Brahman. That which is not thought by mind, but because of which mind believes that it is sentient. The lifeless instruments which believes it has life. That which makes it to believe it has life is Brahman. That which makes it to believe that it is sentient, it is conscious, it is aware. By itself, it has no sentiency. By itself, it has no sentiency. So they say. So clarification geta avtadam gekanu he say. They have said it. So whoever that they is, go and clarify. Go and clarify with them. So they say. So they say. Who are they? Whoever has known it, they say. Why? 2 mantras back he said this. I do not know it, nor do I know how to. I do not know it, nor do I know how to teach it. Therefore, they say. Therefore, they say. Beautiful it is. Therefore, they say. Therefore, they say. It's not an object of knowledge. It is not an instrument. It is not the thoughts. Then what it is, which the thoughts cannot go back and understand. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Next mantra.
7 and 8?
Yeah. Yes. 7 and 8 combined.
Yachachusha na pashyati yena chachughushi pashyati tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yaditam upasate yachhotrena nashnoti yena shrotramidago shrutam tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yaditam upasate Yachachusha na pashyati yena chachughushi pashyati tadeva brahmatvam vidhinedam yaditam upasate yachhotrena nashnoti yena shrotramidago shrutam tadeva brahmatvam tvam viddhi nedam yaditam upasate.
That which one sees not by the eye, that which one's eyes see. Know that alone to be Brahman, not this. This which people worship. That which one hears not by the ear, that by which this hearing is heard. Know that alone to be Brahman, not this. This which people worship. Now what is he saying? He has come back to the next set of instruments. The eyes and the ears. Shrotra says Shrotra. Again, he keeps coming. It's actually speaking, it's the same idea that is getting repeated again and again and again. And every time he repeats it, we can always go and find out something. Brahman is because of, it is Brahman that makes the eyes to see, not what the eyes can see. What cannot be seen by the eye, but by which the eyes are able to see. Know that to be Brahman. The eyes sees a form. The forms are recognized by the eye, and all that is recognized by the eye will be reduced to a form. Again, I repeat. All that the eyes see will be reduced to a form. In fact, only if it is a form within the limitations of the eyes can see. So it has two conditions. One is it has to be a form, and that form has to fit into the limitations of the eye. Brahman is neither as a form nor it has a limitation. Therefore, tadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yadidam upasate. Next mantra. Yat shrotrena na shrunoti ena shrotram idagum shrutam. What cannot be heard by the ear, but by which the ears are able to hear. Know that as Brahman, not this. Okay, it's not a divine form, it's not a divine sound. Eyes means a divine form, ears means a divine sound. That awareness in which the entire phenomena of sound exists, but that which cannot be heard by any sound. Ashabdam, asparsham, arupyam, arupam, avyayam. Kenopanisad. Kenopanisad defines Brahman as Ashabdam. Ashabdam is what here he calls as Nashrunod, ena shrotramidagum shrutam. It is Ashabdam. That which exists before sound, that which is existing during sound because of which you are able to hear, that which will exist after the sound dies is Brahman. Again, sound out of which the phenomena of sound arises, because of that existing in the background, you are able to hear the sound now, and when the sound stops, disappears, dies, the background remains. So that invisible, that soundless background upon which all sounds arise, exist, and die is Brahman. Out of silence, as it were, the phenomena of sound starts. Because of the background silence only, you can hear the sound also. And then it dies. Silence remains. Out of silence, sound comes, as it were. In the background of silence only, you are able to hear. And when the phenomena of sound ends, silence continues. Second, the creation of the sound, existence of the sound, destruction of the sound in no way affects the silence. Are you able to follow from this angle? Kadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. But immediately don't say silence is Brahman. Don't say that. It is, again, it is a, immediately don't say silence is Brahman. What it means is, out of that thing which the sound cannot conceive of, something has come. The sound is anitya, the silence is nitya. That which comes out is anityam, that which was there before the birth is nityam. Is sound nityam or anityam? Sound is anityam. Silence, nityam. So, in that nityam background only, anityam can flourish. If the nityam withdraws itself, as it were, anityam cannot exist. Are you able to follow? Silence irundana sound okay. If silence withdraws, the phenomena of sound itself cannot exist. That which comes and goes is this phenomenon, that which supports all this. What in Bhagavad Gita he calls as kutastha. In Bhagavad Gita he calls it as kutastha. That remains the same, undisturbed. The birth of the snake doesn't disturb the rope. The dissolution of the snake doesn't. Birth of the snake is not sorrow to the rope. Dissolution of the snake is not ecstasy to the rope. Will the rope dance in ecstasy that the snake has disappeared? It will not know, will it? Why? Why? Because it never existed in the first place. It never existed in the first place for it to disappear. You are that, figuratively, we have to use a word. You are that silence in which all sounds come and go. You are that pure light which the eyes cannot see. The eyes can see only obstructions of light. You are that pure light which the eyes cannot see. Correct? For the eyes to see, an object has to be there obstructing the light. Then only the presence of an object can be noticed only when light is obstructed. Simple, no? If the light, opaque, if the light passes through, what will happen? You can't see. The light passes. So that which is so eyes can see that which is an obstruct, that which brings in obstructions to light, but the light cannot be seen. Even though there is moonlight, there is no moonlight. Even though there is moonlight, there is no such thing called moonlight. Which cannot be heard by the ear, by which the ears are able to hear, know that as Brahman, and not this. Not what people do worship here. Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. Next mantra.
Yat pranena na praniti yena prana praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yaditam upasate. Yat pranena na praniti yena prana praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yaditam upasate.
That which one sustains not by the prana, vital air, that by which prana is sustained. Know that alone to be Brahman, not this. This which people worship. Again, that which one sustains not by the prana, that by which prana is sustained. Know that alone to be Brahman, not this. Prana is a physiological function. Again, prana is a physiological function. Brahman is not that physiological function. Breathing in and breathing out. Prana is vital air. Prana means the two functions. Prana literally, one of the difficult, there are so many words in Sanskrit which is difficult to translate into English, and one such word is prana. Yeah. Prana nedukada, they say, isn't it? Yeah, don't take the life out of me, they say, no? What do you mean take the life out of the suffocate? You follow? What is this word prana? Prana is a function. Again, it's a kriya. Again, it is a function. Again, prana means a kriya. Just as seeing is a kriya, hearing is a kriya, thinking is a kriya. All are actions. Are you able to follow? Organs of perception does a set of actions. Organs of actions again does a set of actions. Mind and intellect again does a set of, all comes under the category called kriya. Similarly, prana is also a kriya, a physiological function it is. The physiological function of breathing in and breathing out. That which aids breathing in and breathing out, but that doesn't breathe in and breathe out. That is prana. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nehedam yadidam upasate. That which aids you to breathe in and breathe out. But that by itself doesn't breathe in and breathe out. We are all called pranis. We are all called prani because we all do prana. Breathe in. That's why all are called pranis, isn't it? Why all are called pranis? Because all of them do a physiological function. What is a physiological function? Symbolically breathing in and breathing out. What is that? In fact, one Upanishad is about prana only. There is a lot of discussion that goes about that prana in one of the Upanishads. Taittiriya brings pranamaya kosha right next to annamaya kosha, but manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha is superior to the pranamaya kosha. All that the Taittiriya thing we have studied in Vedanta treatise itself. The 5 koshas. Shankaracharya wrote a book called Panchadashi to discuss this koshas itself. And that Panchadashi itself has about 600, 700 verses. So much of it means so much can be digged out. So much can be dug from each and everything. All this. That's what I'm trying to say. Prana means breathing in and breathing out. Prana means the life sustenance, the air. Breathe in and breathe out, obviously air. And that air is very vital. Okay. Understand it like this. The entire life is between inhalation and exhalation. The first thing you do when you come in is inhale. The last thing you will do is exhale, correct? Supposing after the last exhalation, another round of inhalation starts, it means you are alive, no? So, correct? So what is life? இன்னைக்கு ஒரு நாளைக்கு மூச்சு விட்டதை நிக்க போறதா. That's why they say நிக்க போற மூச்சு தானே they say. So beautiful, no? So how they brought in this philosophy in day-to-day vocabulary, but we lost all that. How they brought in this wonderful philosophy in the day-to-day vocabulary itself. So the first thing that you do in life is to inhale. The last thing that you do is to exhale. Brahman has no complications of having to do inhalation and exhalation. Kadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yadidam upasate. Yat pranena na praniti enaf pranaf praniyate. All this which breathe in and breathe out is called pranis, and all that which aids the breathing in and breathe out is Brahman, and that Brahman by itself need not do this. Tadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yadidam upasate. With this, the teaching portion of Kenopanisad comes to an end. Second portion, the teacher corrects the misunderstanding of the student. That's part 2. The teaching is over. With this, the teaching part of the Upanishad is over. In part 2, the teacher corrects the misunderstanding, and he gives some aids, and he's going to give some aids, some methods. And then part 3 and 4 we will do together, because part 3 and 4, some of the Upanishads has a story. Very rarely you find Upanishad having a story, and Kenopanisad has a story. What is the story? When we go there, we will see. There's a story. What is that story? There is a fight. There's a fight. There's a correct. The fight happened. Correct. The fight happened between Devas and Asuras. Devas won. And they actually, after winning, you will forget who helped you to win, isn't it? When you lose, you will always blame somebody. When you win, you will take the entire credit to yourself. So Devas took the entire credit to themselves, and they were partying. Brahman saw this as it were, story this is. Brahman saw this as it were, and he wanted to come and spoil the party because he didn't like people partying. Huh? He came. And when Brahman came, everybody got scared. They thought some enemy is still left behind. So Indra said, go. One fellow came. They couldn't understand. Another fellow came. They couldn't understand. They came back and told Indra that we couldn't. We don't know what it is. It's beyond our ability, beyond our capacity. And Indra comes subdued with humility. Indra comes subdued with humility. With subdued humility, when Indra comes, the Yaksha disappears. Athoda part 3 is over. Simultaneously, Haimavatim appears. Uma appears. Uma appears. And to that Uma, Indra have a conversation. Part 1, part 2 will be repeated again. So, with that, Yaksha disappeared and Uma simultaneously appears. To that Uma, there will be a conversation between Indra and Uma. The same part 1 and part 2 of the Upanishad will be repeated again. Directly without knowing who the teacher student is, part 1 and part 2. Part 3 and part 4, there comes an arrogant student which they couldn't get anything, and then there comes another humble student. Look at the drama. When you go there, we will see that. Arrogant students munadi Yaksha appeared. Humble student munadi Haimavatim appeared. And when Haimavati appeared, how she is, Upanishad describes the beauty of Haimavati there. How beautiful she is. Before that, Haimavati. How beautiful is. And then there is a conversation happens, and then Upanishad is over. So, with this, we conclude part 1 of Kenopanisad. Sai, if we survive till next month, we will do part 2. Only part 2. Not the only part 2 if we survive. And then if we still survive, part 3 and 4 combined. Where are we now? July. In August, we will do part 2. In September, we will do 3 and 4 combined. And then do what? With this, we conclude for today. We continue later.